Good afternoon, or actually evening. It feels like afternoon because of daylight savings time and it's still light out, which I am delighted about. Welcome to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette, coming to you live via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. My guest today is Naomi Lucas, founder and president of Southern Wicked Lemonade. She's going to talk to us. She's an entrepreneur and a business consultant, and she's going to talk to us about making better decisions and to improve business performance. Welcome everybody in the Facey chat: Dwight, Tracy, Joe, Cheryl, Van, Jose. Hi. I know I'm trying to catch everybody, right? Now, Chris, hello. Now, I'm going to let you guys figure out a little later what Southern Wicked Lemonade is, but you might want to Google it. But I will tell you that it's good stuff. Now, you all know that I'm a Christian. Before I get into the Money Talk news real quick, before anybody gets all upset because my guest is an entrepreneur involved in the alcohol business, we're gonna talk about that, and I'm very excited. Her background is going to be very interesting. So open your hearts and minds as we discuss that, because we are going to discuss that as well. But before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. If you are not following me on Facebook or Twitter, please do. At Money Talk Mel is my Twitter handle, and my Facebook page is at Money Talk with Melanie, the show page. Now, I would be crazy if I did not bring up the fact that President Trump is replacing Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Mike Pompeo is going to replace him. Now, people. People. Now, I know we all love President Trump to some degree. We love what he's doing. We love his policies. I understand that many of us in our audience. But dude, a tweet to fire somebody. Come on. Help me. Help me help you, President Trump. Hi, Katina. How are you? Welcome to the Facey chat. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. Hey, Sue. Hey, Philip. Tamara. Hi. Todd, I think I missed you. Welcome. But yeah, so he lets Rex Tillerson go, and I don't know exactly what went down between them. But when he does stuff like that, now Rex Tillerson, according to the presser today, said that the first he knew about getting fired was with the tweet. And I'm like, Donald, you're killing me, man. So Katina in the chat says he was informed on Friday he was not fired by tweet. Okay, well, good. Then somebody's telling the story. Well, you know what? I don't even know why I said that, because I heard that on Shepard Smith show. I should have known that was some bogus intel. Anyway, because that was Shepard that said that. But anyway, that's just, so he's being replaced. The shakeup is not, listen, I'm going to look at it this way. He's trying to get the perfect team in place. And so he's refining and just trying to get the perfect combination. Oh, Katina said that's why he left Africa, claiming he was sick last week, because he knew he was getting ready to get the boot. That's sad. Oh, wow. Oh, it came from an aide that all the shade and rumors are real. That came from an aide who was fired for telling that lie. Ooh. So much listen, if nothing else is exciting. Listen, when we wake up every morning, we don't know what we're going to hear. What went on? But anyway, that happened. Now, under the I really don't care file, but I know you guys care file, and 70% of my audience is male file, March Madness has started. So congrats to all you college, you NCAA basketball tournament nuts. May the odds be in your favor and all of that. Interesting financial point, though, which is what part of why I bring this up, is that productivity losses from last year at people's jobs estimated $6.3 billion. And that also goes to the classroom as well. Like I have to start. I'm typically not like a write up every kid kind of chick, but they're way out of control with watching March Madness when they're supposed to be working because it streams online. So there's going to be a lot of folks up in detention next week for March Madness instead of doing their work. Listen, I'm glad you're ready for March Madness, Katina, but them kids in my class better start getting their work done instead of watching basketball. I get it. I know it's exciting, but stop. Particularly when like we have this program where I can close the tabs, like I can remotely control their computers. I close the tab and you go back and open it back up like it was a mistake. No, you're supposed to be working. Turn the basketball off. Katina said the company where she works will be short. She streams March Madness every year. Oh, good grief. Jose, you're right. We know the NCAA is corrupt, but it's March Madness, so we have to ignore the corruption. I don't really mean that. I'm just kidding. That'll be a soundbite if I ever try to run for election. Trust me. She said we should ignore corruption. Anywho. Now, this is another really kind of crazy story, and I would love to know how my audience feels about this. Now, the White House blocked a business deal between Broadcom and Qualcomm. Broadcom was going to take over Qualcomm, okay? And the Trump administration put the kibosh on it, specifically the Committee on Foreign Investment, okay? Apparently, Broadcom is Singapore-based, and they put in a $117 billion takeover bid, and they felt as though this takeover bid would damage San Diego's competitive edge against China. And I get that, but capitalism and free market. So I'm conflicted, and I would love to know how you guys feel about that. I'm not sure that I'm good with the government putting a stop to business deals, but maybe perhaps it's a little different since it's international, and we do need to not have China, out pacing us when it comes to technology. So I kind of get that. Yeah, Sue in the chat says it's good that they did it for our security. Right, and that aspect I kind of did understand, but it did give me pause when I saw that. I'm like, why is the government stopping business deals? I'm not sure that I'm okay with that. Just got to be really careful about them doing that, as the Obama administration used to say, picking winners and losers. So you just got to be careful. And I agree, Todd. We do need protection, but as card-carrying conservatives, it's just it's counter normally to what we would be comfortable with. And I know I was uncomfortable when I first saw it. That's all I'm saying. But I considering the dynamics, I can understand why they did that. And quite frankly, I didn't know there was a Committee on Foreign Investment, so go figure. I did not. Okay, one last thing real quick. We have one more minute. Amazon is, I got to talk about Amazon. Amazon is planning to launch a co-branded credit card for small businesses, according to Bloomberg. JP Morgan and American Express are doing this. They already have a personal card from Chase. Amazon does, if I'm not mistaken. We do not know what's really going on, Michael Patterson said. You might be right about that. You might be right about that. And then Sean Jenkins says, I think this was a strategic concept due to them putting heat on North Korea by affecting China's bottom line. Now that makes a whole lot of sense and actually brilliant. That's why we have a businessman in the White House, people. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. When we come back, we are going to have the fabulous Naomi Lucas, who's the founder and president of Southern Wicked Lemonade. She's going to talk to us about making better decisions to improve our business performance. But she's also going to talk a lot about her products. And because, I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian, we're going to talk a little bit about the wine. Is wine okay for Christians or isn't it? And I have weighed on this extensively on my Facebook page. And listen, scholars have been arguing about a whole lot of stuff for years. I don't believe in doing that whole, judgy thing on these details. So I'm not, I'm not casting aspersions on anyone who believes that you shouldn't drink alcohol. I just want to make sure that I put that out there. Anyway, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. We'll be back in a minute. Now, welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. That was the brand new Ron Edwards notebook, and you can catch Ron Edwards right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio right on Friday, right before my show at 4 p.m. Now, y'all know I usually love me some Ron Edwards. I don't know about that page in the notebook. He and I gonna have to talk. I'm just kidding. Without further ado, but not really. Without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Naomi Lucas. She's the founder and president of Southern Wicked Lemonade. I had the pleasure of meeting her, 2 weeks ago in DC now? And indeed, yes, at the launch at the City Club. We were at the one of those snooty launch events, which was fabulous. I love snooty launch events. They're my favorite. No, but it was really fantastic, and I was so impressed with you. I was like, please come on my show. She's like I said, she's the CEO and the founder. She's the first minority female-owned moonshine distilled spirits company in the United States. She's got vast experience in national and international marketing, along with business consulting, and that's prepared her to do what it is that she's doing now. I try to keep my bio short so that my guests can tell the audience exactly what it is that they want to know. As we all know, when we do those bios, we just conclude everything. You know what I mean? But so without further ado, Naomi Lucas, how are you? The pleasure is mine. I'm so excited to talk to you today and talk about your business acumen and all that you've accomplished. And you're a young woman. I don't know how old you are, but you look very young to me anyway. Oh, girl, we're the same age. Well, thank you. You are incredibly young. I'm telling you, for sure. So now the Facey chat told me that they couldn't hear her. Can you guys hear her now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think they can hear. I think they can hear me now. They can hear you now. Okay.
Okay, fantastic.
My bad. All right. So anyway, thank you guys for the shout out. So let's talk a little bit about, before we move on, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience that I didn't mention? Number one.
You know, I always like to mention that I am a mother of two, Jonathan and Serafina. They are my biggest accomplishments, above all. So absolutely, I have to make sure that, they have sacrificed a lot. A lot of times we don't think about our family sacrifice, but they have sacrificed a lot for me to have accomplished some of the things that I've been able to achieve in life. So love you both. Mommy loves you. They are 20 and 23, so they're like, oh my gosh, did they just say mommy loves you?
Stop it.
But
you do not have 20-year-old kids. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
If you guys saw her picture, and as I've been promoting, is that a word? Yeah. As I promote her show today, you see her picture, and she's gorgeous. So, and like I said, she looks like a baby. I'm like, how'd she do all this? I'm looking at her bio. She looks like she's like 20. All right. So before we move on, I want to get out of the way the foundation. Interestingly, I was explaining to T. Naomi that this was a Christian a finance show with a Christian conservative context, and that some people weren't comfortable about the alcohol thing and this, that, and the other. And I just wanted to, I just didn't want to blindside her with that information. So anyway, please, I'm going to let you go from here and tell my audience what you told me.
Yes, well, several things. First is I grew up in a very religious, faith-based family. I came from a line of ministers and pastors in Wilson, North Carolina. My Uncle Herman is a bishop in the Holiness Church, and I mean, there's several pastors and ministers. And so, growing up, as I shared with you, Melanie, I was always taught that the wine in the Bible, please turn water into wine, that wine was not good. And as I was sharing with you, my aunt Carolyn actually got her PhD from, either her master's or a PhD from Duke Theology. And during her stint there, she did a study abroad in Israel. And what she found when she was in Israel, she was there for several weeks, was that the wine was fermented in Israel. And the reason why it's fermented is because the water sources in Israel are impure. And so the fermentation of the wine has medicinal value. And so when she came back, it was so amazing because she said, oh my gosh, the church lied to us this whole time in telling us that the wine wasn't fermented. She said it was absolutely fermented. And so, for me, I am a Christian woman. This company is built upon Christian principles. We tie 10% back to the local community. Even when you look at how we source our glass, our glass is sourced from Germany. We pay more money for glass sourced in Germany rather than China. And we have made that decision because China, as it stands now, has, because of the human rights violations of China. And they also murder Christians. And so, would I ever have a vendor from China? If I could find a vendor whose pay is fair to mankind, if their practices are fair to mankind, and if their morals and ethics in terms of social consciousness align with Southern Wicked, then that's something that I would look at. But, we can call ourselves Christians, but how we walk out our walk really says it all. If we're driven by profits rather than people, if we say, you know what, we are going to deal with China and we are going to deal with a country that martyrs Christians, and stifles the evangelistic mission of the gospel, then, I would tell you, I would question where your walk is, because I think that there that there's a higher calling to what we all have to do when we talk about our Christian walk, you know, and how we treat our fellow man. And even when we're talking about, we're looking at expanding our facility in Alabama. And as a young company, we are looking at starting our workers off at $15 an hour. Do we have to? Absolutely not. But do we think that it's fair? Absolutely, because how anyone can feed a family off of $7.50, $8 an hour, I have no clue about. So am I willing to lessen my profit margins in order that my fellow man can earn a decent wage? Yes. And I believe that it's my Christian duty to do so.
Wow. What you just said was so powerful.
Yep.
It was so powerful. And listen, and if your business model can handle that, and you were brilliant enough to make sure from the door you structured your business model so that it can handle that, God bless you.
Well, you know, when I went into prayer about this company, what I heard God say is to not so much focus on the margins, but to be true to the ethics and the beliefs in which I live by, and that He would bless me with volume. And that's exactly what's occurred with SWL. You know, is rather than we're having the high profit margins, we have a profit margin over volume, right? So instead of, you know, selling 10 pallets, we may sell 1,000 pallets. So, you know, and I've just seen God perform and show up for us. And, you know, and the other thing about what we do is when we sell our cocktails, it is about waking up in terms of a sipping cocktail, in terms of, you know, embracing the moment. Our blends out now are only 34 proof, which is only 17% alcohol, which is a little bit higher than a wine. So when you talk about Southern Wicked Lemonade, you know, it was never developed so that you would get plastered, so that you would get drunk.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a beautiful, I love all of that. And it's true. I mean, I had a sample at the launch.
Yeah.
And no, I was fine. Perfectly fine. Got up and went to work the next day and everything. So it was all good. And it was.
Well, I mean, we're also farm to table. So we get our juices and our produce. We also pay a little extra, again, to source from local farmers rather than large growers. But again, it is our commitment to build other companies as our company is being built. So when you talk about, you know, building together and collaboration and joint venturing, we are the essence. That is the essence of who Southern Wicked Lemonade is.
I love it. I love every little bit of it. Okay, so tell us about the product itself. You've alluded to some of it, but tell us about like the fact that it's organic and gluten-free and how you were able to get that done.
Yeah, so I double majored in college, chemistry and English, and did not use my chemistry degree. I was supposed to, I had this dream of Melanie of being this craniofacial surgeon, going into third world countries and, you know, operating on kids with cleft palates and returning their smiles to them, right? I've always had that humanitarian heart. And unfortunately, due to some family issues with my mother, I could not go to medical school, and so I had to redirect. And, you know, eventually it led me into working for Delta Airlines in their engineering department, and then on to Arthur Anderson until the debacle of Enron.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a whole nother show, right?
Right.
But with Enron, I was very blessed to have a mentor named Alan Wilson that allowed me to work my way through the ranks and become a global marketing director for Arthur Anderson. In fact, I held that post all the way through Enron. And so launching off from there, I had my own consulting firm, very successful, both domestic and international, for several years. And part of my giving back came from doing ride to recovery rides. It was road cycling where you would do 50, 70-mile bike rides to raise money for amputees. And so it was in the course of me training for my first 100-mile century ride that I ended up going into cardiac arrest. And I think at the time I was about 105 pounds.
Oh, Lord.
I was at the height of my physical condition. I just finished a 70-mile race, earlier, a couple of months prior, and was very excited to really check off the bucket list of a 100-mile cycle race. And went into cardiac arrest one night, and for about 2 years, Duke and the Mayo Clinic could not figure out why, when my heart rate got above 140 beats per minute, why I would go into cardiac arrest.
Wow.
And so, me being a type A personality, I couldn't just sit at home. And so my family would literally sit a bar stool in front of the stove in the kitchen, and I would just start tinkering. And eventually my trainer said, look, Naomi, Western medicine doesn't seem to have the answer to your health issues. Let's take you to an all-clean diet. And when I went to an all-clean diet, what I found was when my friends started coming over to the house because I was too sick to go out, I would buy organic wines and different things, and the flavor profile was just awful. And so when I would go to the alcohol store to buy, things to make cocktails at the house, I couldn't find anything clean. And so unless it was just a straight, so Tito's was one of the few things that was gluten-free,
yes.
Kind of thing. But it was just a straight vodka. And so what I found was this open opportunity to enter a market, in a ready-to-pour cocktail. And so I started formulating with moonshines, with me being from North Carolina, especially a small town like Wilson, North Carolina. Then eventually, as I started formulating, I found out that my grandfather, believe it or not, was a moonshiner in Eastern North Carolina. And his recipe was so loved and successful that he was the first African-American to be able to pay for a car in cash due to his moonshining ways. And the way that my grandfather and his brother Paul started moonshining was my grandmother ended up having tuberculosis. And, back then they would put them, in an institution, for a few years. And my grandfather, who had 6 children, and her needed to find a way to supplement his income in order to pay for her being in a sanitarium. And so he and his brother started shining. Well, my grandmother eventually got well, came home, but my Uncle Paul's daughter, Queen Anne, actually fell very, very ill. And she ended up dying when she was like either 7 or 8 years old. And because I come from a very religious family, my Uncle Paul felt that God was punishing him for shining.
Wow.
And so on the day of her funeral, they actually shut the still down, and they never moonshined again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, my entire life, I knew my grandfather as a deacon in the church, a man of God, a deacon in the church. So eventually, as I heard these stories, it was amazing because, I joke and say that, moonshining is in my blood, because I literally created an infusion process that I learned from my grandparents in how they handle fruit, especially my grandmother. And now my company can infuse fruit into alcohol within 48 hours, whereas the industry takes 10 to 15 days.
Okay, that's incredible. I was already impressed, but now just like, wow, and I'm sure my audience is as well. Look, this is how impressive Southern Wicked Lemonade is. It was in the 2018 official swag bag. Okay, that's how good it is. That is how good it is.
We were very blessed to be in the Grammy swag bags in February. And then we were just in the top 20 Oscar nominee bags that was valued over $100,000. This was 2 weeks ago when the Oscars occurred. So shout out to Lash Fairy and Distinctive Assets, and to my brother Anthony Hemingway for the opportunity. Sending much love to them both. Absolutely.
Excellent. And so what it sounds to me like, and you know, whenever God is arranging something, I am guessing in the midst of recovering from having cardiac arrest and doing what you were doing, you had no idea that it was going to lead you down this path. And then with where did your business acumen come from? Working with Enron or more than that?
You know,
let's hope it didn't all come from Enron.
I don't know if I want to say that my business acumen came from Enron. You know, sometimes when I do funny math, I will attribute that to Enron.
To Enron,
but,
right.
But you know, my mother was an entrepreneur. My dad was as well, and I'm just so blessed. I think that when Enron occurred, I had the decision of either going with another, big four firm or to go out on my own. And I really felt like God was calling me to go out on my own. And so, but moving from getting a paycheck every week to having to create your own paycheck is mind-boggling. And at the time I had 2 young kids. I was married at the time, and it was a little scary. And then I had my mom living with me, and so but the thing about it is that the scripture says that God prospers the hands of a diligent man, and in everything that I've done, that's the only thing that I've held on to, is that I know that God's word does not lie. And so it's just been an absolute blessing. I've had the privilege of working under the Prime Minister's office in Barbados, in country branding, import, export, trade development, foreign direct investment, and then moving on from there, speaking at different international conferences, even to the one that I spoke in Switzerland, where 25 countries were represented, and sharing the plenary stage with the vice chairman of the UN Global Compact, and on creating a global economy for the common good. So God has really allowed my voice to be heard on a global scale when it comes to accountability, social consciousness, making sure that we're fiscally responsible and we're making decisions that, are positive towards earth and mankind, and just in also developing community benefits, that it's not about making money, and it's not about, the power players that you interface with, but it is about being true to your roots and being true to the God who created you, and to, look beyond money as your purpose. And really, it's about mission and vision. Yeah.
Do you find that to be a challenge as the product becomes more popular and your profile expands and the profile of the product expands?
Nope.
Oh.
No. And it's so funny because I literally had a conversation with a friend of mine who is a very powerful person in the United States. And he literally said to me last night, he said, Naomi, the one thing that has caused me to support you are the things that you say no to rather than the things that you've said yes to. And I was like, really? And he said, yes. He said, because he said, you are not moved by money or power. And he said, in my world, and this was, we are in the Capitol, he said, I'm with billionaires and millionaires all day long, every day. And he said, having you as a friend centers me.
I love that.
And that was such a great testimony, and I told him, I said, I'm just trying to live out my walk. And at the end of the day, I don't want to ever feel like I've let God down, that I've chosen money over him. And for this, I know that one day I'm going to have to give an account. And I want to be able for him to say, Naomi, I'm so proud of you, and you stuck to the mission. You stuck to the mission.
I love it. I absolutely love it. We're up against the break, but when we come back, I want to talk. You also do business consulting, correct? Or did?
I do, and I do public speaking as well. So yeah.
So I want to give some practical advice, if you will, to budding entrepreneurs in our audience. who might be thinking about launching a product or something like that. Does that sound good?
Okay, absolutely.
All right, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest today is Naomi Lucas, founder and CEO of Southern Wicked Lemonade. We'll be back in a few moments.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wanted to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how legally hiring your spouse and children can slash your taxes. Learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the benefits of setting up an exit plan, how to avoid getting audited, and how to legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Visit TaxMama.com. Click on Ask a Tax Question to get free answers to your tax and business questions. That's TaxMama.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcast. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch River Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hey guys, this is Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Check us out every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network.
And this is Sackhead Clint, is the best looking one of the bunch. It's my duty to remind you to check us out on our YouTube channel.
And don't forget to check us out on the SHR Media Facebook page. The best looking one? Really? You gonna go there?
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on the
SHR
SHR
Media
Media
Award.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
This is Sam on SHR Media. You can listen to my new show starting on Tuesdays in January. Get my perspective on national politics, a conservative perspective on California politics, the latest in the war on terror, all of that and a lot more here on Tuesdays at SHR Media. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Sam_SHR Media.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. And my guest today is the fabulous, fantastic Naomi.
Oh, Lord, I'm blushing.
Well, you are the fantabulous T. Naomi Lucas, who is the founder and president of Southern Wicked Lemonade. She's talking to us today about making better business decisions to improve your business performance. Now, those of you who have joined the Facey Chat late, or maybe joined the podcast late, or listen, or just picked up the show on SHR Media or High Plains Pundit, we have already had the discussion, and you will find it quite interesting about whether or not Christians should be drinking. Naomi is a Christian herself, and she added quite a bit of insight into that topic. So please, before you turn it off, because of the guest, go back and listen. It has to, and Jerusalem's involved, so you want to listen to that. It's important.
Absolutely.
Just want to make sure I say that. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about what people can do, entrepreneurs, what they're thinking about, when they're thinking about starting their own business. There's a very long process to it. Recommendations, advice, where would you start if you had, a brilliant idea? Then what?
The thing about it is I tell my kids, because they're very entrepreneurial, I tell them and the people that I've mentored that, I would much rather own, 70% of a $100 million company than 100% of a $1 million company.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I think that, unfortunately, with a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to own 100%, period. I can tell you that there is no way that SWL would have been able to gain the market share and to be where we are if it had not been for my partners, all of us working together in this company. In fact, I know you introduced me as founder and president, but I'm actually founder and CEO. We just named Ayanna Brown as president of Southern Wicked Lemonade, and we're so blessed and proud to have her as part of our leadership team. I think that when you talk about what does it take to build a global brand in this day and age, of social media and evolving analytics, when you talk about multiple technology platforms, it really is a meeting of the minds. And the other part that I've learned in my personal life, in addition to my professional life, is that those qualities and characteristics that I see as weaknesses within myself or within my company, I seek to bring those people into my life, either on the personal side or on the business side. For example, when I became a mom, I didn't really get the mom gene. And I know some people would probably be shocked, but not every mom bonds instantly with their child, with their baby. And so, it was, and I was very blessed that my children had nannies, and, I had the financial wherewithal to be able to get that assistance. But, two of my closest friends were actually stay-at-home moms, and they homeschooled their kids. And, and a lot of people are shocked to hear that because I'm such a business person. But I knew that in my life, I needed women who loved God and who loved being a mother, and where it just came second nature. I was like, I really need to glean from them the wisdom that they have for being a mother, because for me, that was just, it was a natural. I know that sounds weird as a woman, but it was.
Well,
I'm much more natural in a boardroom, and I don't know what that says about me, but yeah.
No, well, listen, I think you just brought about a great point, which is, knowing what you don't know is key, and not only in business but in life.
Yeah,
For that matter.
And when you look at my partners, I recruited people from, former professional athletes and, in basketball, and I recruited a 25-year restaurateur because I did not have hospitality experience. I recruited, one of the top pharmacy supervisors at Walgreens because of his chemistry background. And, it was just the list goes on and on and on, because I knew that in order for me to take SWA public or into a billion-dollar acquisition, status, that I needed a dream team. And I had no ego involved in the process of assimilating this dream team. In fact, I sought out people that knew a lot more than me and was a lot wiser than me, but who shared an affinity for humanity and who wanted to leave a legacy, and who understood that with us breaking this market, that we are lending our shoulders to the next generation, and opening doors that had previously been shut out to minorities and to women.
That is so true. You don't hear a whole lot of female entrepreneurs in the spirits industry.
Yeah.
Now, somebody in the chat mentioned that you have to have a 5-year plan, and as was one of those, academics who is not, where you are as far as being an entrepreneur, that would be my answer. You have to have a 5-year plan and blah, blah. What do you think about that? Did you have a 5-year plan, and did it work out exactly the way you thought it would?
In theory, I have a 5-year plan. When I consulted with young companies, I was adamantly opposed to doing a business plan past 3 years. And do you want to know why?
Why?
Because in year one of any new business, it never goes the way that you think it's going to go, ever.
That makes sense.
So by the time you get to year 2, you're already rewriting your business plan for year 2 and 3. Yeah. So to go out 5 years, to me, was a waste of extra money for people to, for me to spend my time doing projections for year 4 and 5, because after year 1 and going into year 2, we were rewriting the projections anyway about what we, learned about the competitive market, about the consumer, and the product and the reception and the marketing and the media and, integrations of technology and all of that. So for SWL, we had a 2-year financial projection plan. And then we had a 5-year plan, in that, in theory, we knew the goal was to build a luxury brand that either we would, attract a billion-dollar acquisition, or either we would go public, either or. And so we sought out, in theory, to follow that yellow brick road. But in terms of hard business plan, our business plan has changed over and over and over again.
That makes sense.
In this market. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask that because like I said, and from an academic perspective, I've always, you're taught in school, right? You have to have a 5-year business plan. You have to do this. You have to do that. But things are definitely, changing in the entrepreneurial sphere, particularly when it comes to technology. And so I definitely wanted to ask that question. Now, how hard is it or easy is it to stick to and implement that plan once you've got it established?
I think that when you look at a business plan, it really has to align to the theory of a book called Who Moved My Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because, I can tell you that what I thought the market would bear for our product has been totally different. So we've already had to create a second line of products based on demographics of nightclubs and restaurants that we didn't foresee. I mean, there are just some things that if you're entering into an industry that you've never been in before, you don't know what you don't know. And it's not until you get into that industry firsthand and you're living and breathing it and talking to, the people that have been in that industry for 20, 30, 40, 50 years that you learn what you don't know. And that's where you have to go back to the drawing board, because, the intelligent quotient of a lot of my partners, at first, when we first started out, we thought we've got the best team in the world. And then as we began to make some mistakes and learn the things that only real life can teach you, we had to continue to go back to the drawing board. In fact, we spent over $200,000 our first year just on research and development. And when we were doing tastings around the country, our formula changed twice.
Wow.
Because of palates, the different palates of, people around the country. That's something that we did not have even, fathomed, right? And so again, you don't know what you don't know. Thankfully, we didn't launch our product and then had to change the formula and rebottle our product twice. Thank God that we had the money to be able to have a year of R&D, after the 2 years of development. And so now we've been in the market a year, on the retail market for a year. And, within that 1 year, we've been able to land, the Grammys and some of the other, because we truly have a product that came out of blood, sweat, tears, and having to redo. And having to have a redo many times.
Wow. And the fact that you were willing to do that took a lot of humility, and I'm sure is directly related to your success. We're coming up against the close, but I want to ask you this question. What would you say is the biggest mistake that you made while working on this?
I think that I underestimated the fact that when you have a great product, that distributors will want to pick you up. I did not foresee the politics and the male-dominated game that was in the spirits industry that you come against is, just some of the discrimination aspects. I did not foresee those challenges. But, you just have to keep knocking on doors and, and just keep meeting people, and God gives you people that will open doors that maybe you, your face, your skin tone, your dress can't open the door, but someone else may have to go in front of you. And, that's where you lay ego aside and, you allow people to be people. So, yeah. Excellent
advice. Okay, before we go, tell us about where we can find out more information about your products. If we want you to speak or have you on a show, a lot of other radio hosts listen to my show. So promo time.
Yeah. Go. So wickedlemonade.com is our website. You can find me IG at Wicked CEO. You can DM me at Wicked CEO on Instagram, or you can fill out our contact information on my website. But we are available. We are around, and we so love you, Melanie, and thank you so much for having us on your show.
Oh, girl, the feeling is quite mutual. I am so glad that I met you. Let's give a shout out to Miss Michelle Odom, who connected us, shall we?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Michelle is the absolute best. She is our publicist, and we absolutely adore her.
So love her.
Love you, Michelle.
Yes, love you, Michelle. You rock, like real hard, girl. Okay. Okay. Anyway. We're at the close of the show. I want to thank everyone in the Facey chat at SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Talk Radio, and I definitely want to thank my guest, T. Naomi Lucas. You rock. I hope you'll come back as the company continues to grow and you continue to be blessed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and blessings to you as well.
You're welcome. I want everybody to have a great night, and remember, all of this is very important because after all, it's your money.